Thank you. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very thankful to Agriculture Information for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all. In fact, I remember in 2007 when I had set up my own dairy farm and dairy processing plant, uh, there was very little information available anywhere. But by sitting far away from the market, I was able to get a lot of good information from their website. So I'm really honored to be present on this platform to present about small scale milk processing. That is the topic today. Very quickly to introduce my startup, we were incorporated in 2019 as a private limited company, Teplu Learning Private Limited. We are incubated by two government institutions. One is Science and Technology Park, Pune, and the other is Indian Veterinary Research Institute, which is based out of Uttar Pradesh. So in today's session, what I will cover is about what kinds of products we can go ahead with in case of milk processing. What is the scientific process that we need to follow? I will also give you a glimpse on the design that is needed for a small scale plant and the kind of equipments that are needed. The civil work which will be needed as per regulations, how you can go about selling and distributing your products, what kind of investments you will need for setting up a small scale plant, government rules, and how to mitigate the risks. So to begin with, I wanted to give you an idea about whether there is any prospect in the dairy sector. It's a very old profession and people are manufacturing ghee, butter, since past thousands of years. So there's nothing new in it. But you will be surprised to know that India is largely a protein deficient country. So as per very reliable sources like the NDDB, there is a growth rate of 12 to 13% increase of dairy products in India. And the industry size is going to grow up to 30 lakh crores by 2027. So there is a huge opportunity there. Today, we are unfortunately exporting very small quantities to our neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And a majority of the market is unorganized. Hence, there is actually a very good opportunity as well as a genuine need for educated players to come into the field and become entrepreneurs. And this will ensure that customers get a very good product, right? So when I talk about protein deficiency in India, if you go to remote corners, you will not find good quality dairy products. The proteins that children receive are majorly from cereals or meat, but cereals are not easily digestible, and hence dairy products are something are a form of protein which are easily absorbed by the body, and it is very good for children as well as for aging people. And the other thing is that as the income of people increases in any economy, what they tend to do is they firstly tend to spend more on better quality food. And hence dairy products will always have an increase in demand, no matter what the market be. You would have seen that even during COVID, dairy products were being sold, right? And the other reason why I'm talking about getting educated people into the dairy sector is because if you decide to go back to your village and set up a dairy plant, it will create employment in your village. And of course, the kind of migration that we see today from villages to cities will probably reduce a bit. So to help people set up their dairy plants in this country, what we provide is not just online courses, but we also provide end-to-end solutions in dairy product manufacturing. So we have currently more than 15,000 registered users, and we have set up dairy plants, small-scale dairy plants in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, UP, and now we are coming up with some plants in Madhya Pradesh also. So we are our online courses are recommended by Indian Veterinary Research Institute. Our projects have a high success rate because we firstly do the feasibility analysis. We understand whether milk is available around your village and whether good quality milk is available and at a good price. Then we provide dairy equipments which are of good quality and they should not have any shortcomings. We also help you get finance and get the FSSI license. We commission and do everything about the training, and we also do product development, which means we come to your place and we develop products along with you while training, and then we take the products to your customers and create those products as per their requirements, right? And then we also help in sales and marketing, and then we are there with you for a period of 6 months to help you solve any kind of problems that you have. So these are some of the dairy plants that we have created. Now let's come to milk processing. When we talk of milk processing, if you set up just a plant for selling milk, processing and selling milk, it is not going to be viable. We will look into the reasons at a later stage on why that is so. But using the same equipment, you can actually manufacture other products also, like cream, ghee, curd, lassi, buttermilk, and paneer. But before I get into the kind of products, I just want to quickly tell about fat and SNF, which are the key parameters in the dairy business. I'm sure many of you would be knowing, but for some of you who are new to this concept, fat is, as you know, what creates the cream in milk, and SNF stands for solid, not fat. So if you take milk, so around 87% of milk comprises of water. After that, you have around 4 to 6% or maybe 7% fat, and the remaining you have solids such as proteins, casein, vitamins, all these things. So when you remove the fat and the water, then whatever solid is required is remaining is called solid, not fat, or SNF percentage. So whenever milk is procured from farmers, it is measured against the fat percentage and the SNF percentage, and the remuneration is provided to farmers on that. So when you're procuring milk and processing milk, you can create different kinds of milk, such as full cream milk, which has 6% fat. So normally buffalo milk has a fat of 6%, and it goes up to 7.5%, 8% fat also. Cow milk has fat ranging from 3.5% to up to 4.5%, 5%, right? And SNF in buffalo milk is generally slightly higher. It goes up to 8.7 to 9%, and in cow milk it is slightly less. So apart from full cream milk, you can also have toned milk, which has got 3% fat and 8.5% SNF. Then you would have heard of double toned milk, which has lesser fat, and skimmed milk, which has got 0.5% fat, 8.7% SNF, and standardized milk, which has got 4.5% fat as 8.5% SNF. So these are all the kinds of milk which have been prescribed by Food and Safety Standards Authority of India, FSSAI. So standardized milk is basically, it refers to reconstituted milk. Reconstituted milk means that you procure skim milk powder, you add water to the powder and create milk out of it, and then you add butter oil to provide the fat and mix the liquid to create milk. So that is reconstituted milk, and during the glut seasons or during summer seasons when milk is not there in abundance, reconstituted milk is basically supplied to the market by large gluts. So this we are not recommending for small scale plants, because you will need to either procure skim milk powder or you will have to set up a skim milk plant for yourself, which is a very costly effort. So when we talk of small scale, there might be people who would want to process 200, 300 liters of it. whereas there would be others who would want to process more than 500 liters. So today we will discuss only about these two categories. So if you are talking about less than 500 liters per day, you cannot process the milk. I mean, you can process it, but it will not be economically viable for you because the machinery cost is also quite high, and hence the processing cost will be high, and you will not be able to make adequate returns out of it. So if you have less than 500 liters of milk, what you can do is, like I have shown here, you can put them in bottles, and you can supply fresh milk to your customers. But if you're thinking of scaling up and processing more than 500 liters of milk per day, then you can process them by a different scientific process, and you can pack them in pouches such as the ones shown here in 1 liter, 500 ml and 200 ml pouches. Right. The third category of packing here, which I've shown here, is the Tetra Pak. Now, Tetra Pak is usually a form of packaging which is used by very large brands, and the minimum cost of the packaging machine starts from 75 to 80 lakh rupees. Hence, it is not recommended for small scale players. So these are the packing options which you can go for. So what is the process to go for when you go for creating your pouch milk, right? So first thing is you have to go and collect milk from the farmers or from collection centers. So there are two images that I'm showing here for your reference so that you understand. Normally, what happens is a vehicle goes to villages, and the villagers pour the milk in buckets, and the collection agent weighs the milk, and then gives a slip like this, which is given here. You can see this is the case of Maharashtra, where the fat percentage and SNF percentage is measured using a milk analyzer here quickly in 10 seconds, and then this receipt is given to the farmer. This vehicle then goes back to a chilling center where there is a bulk milk cooler and the milk is chilled. The second model is where the farmers come directly to a center which is near their houses or their village. So here they have these equipments like the milk analyzer here, the milk tester here. There is a stirrer here which stirs the milk, and just in front of the farmer, milk is tested, and again this kind of a slip is provided to them. And after this milk is collected and it goes to the chilling center, if it's a small scale plant, you don't need a chilling center. Normally, large plants which procure 1 lakh, 2 lakh liters of milk, they use the chilling centers, and otherwise it will come directly to your plant. And there you will need to do certain chemical tests. Firstly, you will need to understand the fat and SNF percent of the milk, because you will have to pay the farmers or the collection agent as per the fat and SNF. Secondly, you will need to check the acidity of the milk. Now, so that the milk doesn't get spoiled once it reaches your plant, you have to ensure that the acidity is within accepted norms. So you do the test for acidity, and then you also do tests for adulteration. For adulterants such as sugar, starch, urea, so you periodically do those tests, and we teach you how to do those tests in a small setup. The next step is storage and filtration. So now once the milk comes to your place, if you are not processing it immediately, since milk is perishable, you will need to store it at a temperature which is less than 4 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, your milk will get spoiled and you will incur a loss. So you will have to store it in a bulk milk cooler, right? After receiving it, you'll have to store it in a bulk milk cooler and preserve it. And then when you decide to process it, you will use a pump and use it to send it to a cream separator. Why do we use a cream separator? Is because suppose you are getting milk from the farmers which has got 8% fat, and you want to give your customers full cream milk which has got 6% fat. So there is no point for it will not be economical for you to give 2% fat extra to the customer at the same cost, right? So what you do is you use a cream separator, which is a machine, to remove the cream and standardize the product. So you bring the fat percentage to your desired product requirement level, right? The next step which you do is after separation and standardizing. Standardizing is basically if you want 3.5% fat in the milk and 9% SNF, then you will mix the milk which is from which you have separated the cream, and you will put it into the milk which has got more fat, using a formula which is given which is called as Pearson square. So if you can go to Google, you can search for Pearson square. It is a mathematical model on how to get a standardized milk, or for that matter, any other liquid product. The next process is recombination with reconstituted milk. Like I said, reconstitution is done by large brands to create milk using milk powder and butter oil. So we don't need to do that. Now, after the standardization is done, what you will need to do is you will send the milk using a pump to a pasteurization unit, where you will heat the milk to 65 degrees Celsius and then immediately send it to the homogenizer. Now, what does homogenizer do? To explain very, in a very simple term, when you put raw milk in pouches and send it to people, often your customers complain that, the fat has come on the top. That's because the fat has not been mixed in the milk properly. So the fat which is available in milk, it comes in the form of tiny, very tiny globules. So homogenizer actually breaks down the globules into very fine pieces and mix it with the entire liquid, and hence customers get a very consistent taste of milk. Thereafter, after homogenization, it is sent to the pasteurization unit again, where it is heated up to 72 degrees Celsius and then instantly chilled using an instant chilling unit. And the temperature is brought down to 4 degrees Celsius. After that, what you can do is you can store the milk in an insulated tank if you want to package it later, or you can package it instantly using the packaging machine and put it in these pouches of 500 ml, 200 ml, or whatever you want. And then you store it in a cold room. And then after that, whenever you want to send it out to your customers, you put them in crates and put it in a refrigerated vehicle and send it to your customers. So this pasteurization machine actually also can manufacture curd and paneer, right? So the same setup, and hence it is written multi-purpose. The same setup can be used to manufacture all these products without any other major expense. So that is the process, and this is the picture of a multi-purpose milk processing unit, and this is a unit which we have set up in Maharashtra. And if I were to give you a proper, so the first machine here that you see here is a homogenizer. Then this is the electric boiler. This is the the dump tank, and this is the storage tank, and this is the milk packing machine, and this is the instant chilling unit, right? So this is how it looks. And if you look at a plant, so this is a slightly larger plant. So normally the processing plants come at a capacity of 100, 300, and 500 liters. So this is the entire plant design. This is what we provide when you set up the plant. There is a changing room here, there's an office, there's a lab. All these facilities are given, and for 300 liters per hour plant, which can help you process around 2,000 to 3,000 liters of milk per day, you need around 1,500 square feet of space. So what kind of civil work do you need to do? So there are some norms laid down by FSSI. You will have to do tiling till about 4 feet of all around the plant, inside the plant. Then you have to use bandana tiles on the floor. You have to create a wash basin. You have to create a separate wash area. You need a proper drainage. You need to put fire extinguishers, exhaust fans, and there has to be separate entry and exit. So when milk comes, the entry will be different. When staff go inside, the entry will be different. And where the material will be taken out from, that exit has to be there. And for very large plants, where you do not have any place to dispose of your wastewater, you need to also install an ETP, or effluent treatment plant, right? So now when you're talking of setting up the plant, I'm sure, many of you would be thinking about competition. Oh, how will I fight with such large brands which are there around me? Our experience says that the larger the brand, the larger are its operational expenses. So there are a lot of advantages of setting up a small plant in your area. Uh, the advantages are first, like unlike a large brand, you will have control over the quality of milk. So if you're procuring 1,000 to 2,000 liters of milk, normally what we do is we suggest that we go together and check the source of milk from farmers and ascertain. Large brands unfortunately cannot do that entirely. They are procuring millions of liters of milk. Secondly, you can also create a lot of local product variants. For example, in Maharashtra, there is a Piyush, so there is Shikhand. So these products you can manufacture at your place. Third thing is your operational expenses will be lower. Why? Because if you want to hire a dairy technology engineer with 5 to 6 years of experience, it costs minimum 10 lakh to 12 lakh rupees a year, which the large plants have to spend on. But in a small scale plant, we teach you to use very, maybe graduates or very minimally educated people to run your plants. Hence, your OPEX is less. Then you can produce much better quality because your procurement cost of milk will be at par with the large brand, or in fact lower than the large brand, because your transportation cost will be much lower than them. The taste will also be better because it takes days for large brands to collect milk from their collection centers. They're transporting over long distances. Then, because you will have locally known people, you will have a much better connect with people, and with distributors also. So all these factors will work positively for you, and then you will be effectively able to withstand the threat of competition. And like I said, there is an ample scope in the market for multiple people to work, multiple players to offer the products. Basically, if you look into competition, you'll have some unbranded players, who are your competition, like the Tapailawalas or the Walas. Then you have got general stores which store milk of other brands. Then you will have some local brands, and then you'll have large kind of brands. So we help you create a pricing strategy which will help you fight the might of all the established brands. For example, here is the competition benchmark products which we have given for a plant that we have set up in Maharashtra. So our pricing that we have set here is intermediate. It is not fighting directly with the large brands, and it is also yet also giving the ease of purchase to the consumer, as well as making it economical for the local people to buy. If you want to market your products, there are several strategies that you can use. For example, you can have your own outlet, or you can supply milk or your paneer or ghee, cream, etc., to large hotels, caterers in your place, sweet makers. Why sweet makers? Because traditionally sweet makers procure milk from golas, or they buy milk from large brands, because of seasonality. What happens is their procurement costs, the quantity of procurement reduces during off-season time, right? And it increases during the seasons. So the milk suppliers, the farmers are not able to supply to them, directly and locally, and hence their cost of production is quite high. So here you can offer them good quality products, or package your milk in 5 liter packs and supply it to them. Then you can always tie up with grocery stores, any shop which has a refrigerator, and then through a distributor you can go to them, or you can also sell your products through Swiggy, Zomato, and all such e-commerce apps which are there. Let's look at the way you will calculate profitability for milk products, including milk. Here is an example of pouch milk of buffalo, 500 ml. So the raw material is milk. Other than that, you need to consider operating costs such as fuel, labor, electricity, rentals, transport, all the other costs you have to put in there. Using that, all these expenses, you get the processing charge, which in our experience comes to around 3.5 to 4 rupees if you are using the electric boiler. Now, if you are using a wooden boiler which uses wood, and mind you, most of the large brands they use wood in their factories and not electricity, so that reduces the cost of processing uh, even more. And then you have your uh, the labor which you are putting and the packaging charges that you have. Then you also have to account for depreciation, which is because you're using your machinery. The value of the machinery reduces over a period of time, so you have to account for that. You will also have to account for the commission that you give to distributors for selling your products, and the transportation cost you will need while transporting milk from your factory to the distributors. And this way you get the total cost, and then after you get the sales value. So these are latest values in Maharashtra. So you get a calculated net profit, which comes to around 11%. So this is the way you calculate profitability, and we help you in doing this. We help you create the product, by reducing the fat or increasing the SNM. So what kind of investment would you need to set up a milk processing, multi-purpose milk processing plant? So here I've given you the example of 200 liters per hour capacity, which means you can process, easily around 15 to 1800 liters of milk per day. And the total cost, along with the support and end-to-end, costing is around 45 to 50 lakhs that you will need. So if you invest this kind of money, what returns can you expect? So the products that you will have and their peak capacity per day are given. These are estimates which we have drawn from the plants that we have set up. So you can expect to have a net income of 3 to 4 lakh rupees and an ROI of 15 to 18% if your OPEX costs are less. If you're running the business frugally, you will break even within a period of 5 to 6 years. That means you'll recover your entire investment within 5 to 6 years. So what are the government rules and schemes? So the government supports entrepreneurs who are setting up their milk processing plants. So there is a scheme called Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, where you get loans up to 25 lakh rupees. And the collateral here is the machinery which you take, or in case of loans which are less than 10 lakh rupees, there is no collateral, right? If you have a good credit profile, you get that loan. And you have to go to the Khadi Gram Udyog office and apply. You can also apply online. And thereafter, the Khadi Village Industries Commission transfers the project after approval to the bank, and the bank disburses the money to you. So other than that, there is the Prime Minister's Kaushal Yojana, which also provides a loan, and the loan amount can go in crores, and the subsidy amount is also up to 50 lakhs. Up to 50% of the cost, and that is primarily for managing your cold chain, getting the dairy processing equipment. And in case of PMAGP also, there is a subsidy of 30 to 35%, and depending upon which caste you are in. So after you pay your first EMI, you get the subsidy amount credited to your bank. So that's the government rules and schemes. Now, last part I wanted to talk about is why do dairy plants fail? You would have seen that a lot of dairy plants start up and then they call. Even I get so many calls, very often from people. And when I examined the reason of the failures, I found there are multiple reasons. The first is about the source of milk and quality. So what happens is, as I said, the market is organized, and hence the unorganized players are, they manufacture the plants and they sell the machinery to the customers without know-how of the difficulties that the customer will face. What are the difficulties? For example, the processing cost of milk. That should make your product profitable from day one. right? So when you there is one case where a person got the machine from a supplier and then went on to purchase milk from a person who had promised him milk, good quality milk. So the person went, started the plant, and then found that the quality of milk was poor and the customers were not liking it, right? So what he did was then he went to another supplier who said, okay, we will give you milk, but the milk was so costly that it was never viable for him. So that was one reason. The second reason was that uh, there is a lot of problems happening when milk is being received. So people try to save costs and they do not get a bulk milk cooler to chill their milk. They get the milk directly and start processing it. And once they get 500, 800 liters of milk, and suddenly the temperature goes up and the acidity of the milk increases, or the bacterial count of milk increases, the milk gets spoiled. And losing 500, 800 liters of milk in one day is a huge financial loss. So after a couple of times when such kind of losses happen, the entrepreneur doesn't have the enough cash flows to run his business, and that's when they start to look about selling their plant. The third reason is that people often start the business without learning the processes themselves. So in our training, we train the entire family member, and for the first 5 to 6 months, we actually do not encourage them to hire people from outside. We help them manage the plant, and we make them experts in running the plant. So what happens is when you hire a plant operator right from the beginning, suddenly one day the plant operator decides to go away or has some family issues, and then your plant stops. And you are just going about, uh, you know, uh, you're panicking about it. So that's another reason. The other reason is, operational, increase the operational expenses. For example, uh, uh, you plan that you will take an electric boiler and set up the plant in your machine, and you feel very confident that the voltage will not fluctuate there. But for running a dairy plant, you need at least 415, kV of voltage without fluctuations. So what happens is that because of no backup generators, what happens is that the plant doesn't start, and then machines get spoiled. Those kind of things happen. So these are the reasons why many plants stop. So if you learn, the technology properly and have a good backup and have a good working capital backing, then you can definitely become a successful brand. So I think I've covered all these points here. The last point is that uh, credit cycle is the most important thing in this business or any FMCG business. What it means that when you procure milk from farmers, you will have to pay them within 7 days or 10 days or maybe 15 days. But if your customer who buys your products pays you after 1 month, that means there is a gap, there is a credit gap that emerges. So where do you pay the farmers from? So you need additional money from somewhere else to pay them, the farmers, for milk or for all the raw materials. So that gap should not happen. And because of this cash flow mismatch, a lot of problems happen. So that is what I wanted to cover about milk processing. We will be able to help you in setting up your dairy plants. Now we can open the session for Q&A.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay, for the detailed presentation. Now I'll take up some questions. Okay, so how do you select an ideal location for the milk processing unit to ensure its success?
Okay. The first thing is that location should be near the source of milk. So if you're in a city which is far away from the farmers from where you're procuring the milk, you will have a high cost of procuring the milk. Then you will also be concerned about polluting the environment around you. So the location should be preferably in the outskirts of the city, or if it is within an industrial development area which the government provides, you should set up there. Most importantly, you should have uh, access to good quality milk, and also in a place where you can find some labor.
Okay. And what are the essential steps to consider when planning to set up a milk processing unit?
Essential steps are firstly the location, then the second the source of milk and the quality of milk, right? Thirdly, it's about the fuel and the availability of electricity. That's also important. Fourthly, you need to look at the capital. So apart from the investment in the equipments and the other fixed assets like the land and building, you will also need to have enough of working capital to buy the raw materials every month and pay for milk and the other raw materials. So having enough of working capital is important. And last but not the least, learning the entire technology behind running the plant. So you have to really be geared to be an entrepreneur and learn every small aspect of the business so that you can face any kind of hardships which come during the business. And so then you will be able to successfully manage the business.
Okay. And what are the necessary permits and licenses required to operate milk processing unit legally?
Yes. So first license you will need is for from FSSI, which is the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. If you are processing more than 500 liters of milk, you will have to apply for the license, and in that there are several aspects where you will also have to create a recall policy where if the products are undergoing some problems in the market, then you have to have a plan to recall the products. Then you will need to package your products and provide the designs of the products, and then you will also have to provide the design of the plant and the photographs of the equipment. So all these things and other supportings are needed for FSSI license. Other than that, you will need to have a fire license, and then you will need to, if you are setting it in a village, you'll have to take the permission from the Gram Panchayat or an NOC, no objection certificate from Gram Panchayat. And if you are opening a retail outlet for selling the products, you'll need a shop license for that. So these are the licenses which are needed.
Okay. And how can one ensure the quality and safety of the milk processing in milk processing in the unit?
Right. So the assurance, quality assurance starts right from the time you procure the milk. So when you're procuring the milk, when it comes to your plant, you will have to do the test for fat, for SNF, which is to understand the real quality of the milk. Then you will have to do the test for acidity, which will tell you whether the shelf life of milk will be good enough. Then you will have to do certain tests for adulteration. For small scale plants, we set up a small basic lab unit, and in that unit you can use some equipments, basic equipments like the pipette burette, the Gerber method, and then you can test adulteration by using strips. Now, other than that, what you will need to test is the quality of water. So for that, you will need to send the water to a lab for testing for bacterial load and for also the TDS. And other than that, after the product is made, you will have to send the product mandatorily to a lab for not only assessing its nutritional value, but also testing the compliance as per FSSI standards. And within that, you will also have to test for the presence of bacteria, coliforms, etc. All these tests and compliance, if done properly, will ensure that you will have a good quality product. And The other thing is that you will always have to maintain a cold chain. So when you are starting the manufacturing process, you will have to ensure that the milk is preserved below 4 degrees Celsius at all times. And then after it is processed, you will have to ensure that it is stored again below 4 degrees. While you're transporting the milk, you'll have to ensure that the milk should be reaching the doorstep of the consumer within 1 to 2 hours of processing. And even when you provide it to your distributors who are storing that the milk, it should be provided with strict instructions that they have to be refrigerated below 4 degrees. So if you are transporting for longer distances, you will also have to maintain the temperature to less than 4 degrees Celsius. This will ensure that the bacterial count doesn't increase and the taste, quality, everything is maintained. So if you follow these procedures, the quality, taste, everything will be good.
Okay. And what equipments and machineries are essential for a successful milk processing unit?
Okay. So, so firstly, you will have to decide whether you want to collect milk. So if you want to collect milk yourself, then you will have to approach the farmers and you will have to send your vehicle along with the milk testing analyzer and collect the milk in cans and get it to your plant. If you don't want to collect it yourself and get it from a collection center, then you will have to tie up with the collection center or the collecting agent who will send the milk to your place. Now, in your factory, what you'll need is you'll firstly need to have a milk reception dock where there is a bowl in which the milk is poured, and there will be a weighing scale which will weigh the milk as the agent pours it into it, and then it will go to a dump tank. Right, that's the first set of equipment. So that's the collection dock, and from there will be a motor which will then send the milk to a bulk milk cooler. So if you are setting up a small scale plant, you will need a 1,000 liter or a 2,000 liter bulk milk cooler. Now, a bulk milk cooler will need to have two chambers, because if you are processing cow milk separately and buffalo milk separately, you'll need to store them into two different chambers. So you'll need a bulk milk cooler with two chambers. Then the next equipment that you'll need is a pasteurizing unit. Now the pasteurization unit, it comes with a with a boiler and a plate exchanger, which heats the milk as well as cools the milk simultaneously. So that's the pasteurization unit. And then other than that, you will need one homogenizer machine that homogenizes the milk. After that, you will need a storage tank where you can store the milk and insulate the milk. So it is an insulated storage milk where the temperature is maintained. So along with the pasteurizer actually is connected to an instant chilling unit, ICU, which chills the milk instantly. So for 300 liter per hour capacity, you will chill 300 liters of milk in 1 hour. So the milk will be chilled to 4 degrees, less than 4 degrees Celsius. And then other than that, you will need a packaging machine, which will have either 200 ml and 500 ml pouch packing, or it will have 200, 500 ml and 1 liter pouch packing. So in this, the milk processing is covered. In the same unit, what we do is we provide facility to take heat milk for curd as well as for paneer. So you can also draw milk from that, put it into some paneer dump tanks and coagulate the milk there. And using a paneer press, you can create paneer. And similarly for curd, you will have a curd dump tank. You will put the milk there, and you will put the culture in it, and then put it in cups, or the way you want it, and then put it in a curd incubator. Right, that's the way to incubate the curd. Other than that, for paneer, you will need a paneer packing machine. You can go for a vacuum pack machine, which is small in size and increases the shelf life of paneer to up to 3 months if the cold chain is maintained, which is below than 4 degrees Celsius. So these are the basic equipments which you will need to set up a milk processing and a paneer and curd processing plant.
Yeah, okay. And Mr. Mohan wants to know how to provide small milk processing unit where fresh milk is not available. And I am asking for outside the country, is there any way that can have milk producing with milk powder?
Yeah, so when it comes to small quantities, like I mentioned in my presentation, it is difficult to process those the small quantities. So normally people, there are some vendors, suppliers in the market who will just suggest batch pasteurizers to you. Now that's a very outdated technology and it doesn't work. In that, what happens is you heat up the milk to 62 degrees and keep heating it for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. But unfortunately, what happens is the lower part of the tank that doesn't get heat, so milk gets spoiled. So it's not a viable solution at all. So please do not go for a batch pasteurizer, even if anybody is offering to you at a very low cost, because it doesn't. So for small quantities, there is no option I would suggest other than sending fresh milk to your customer. But if you want to send it to other countries, then yes, what you can do is you can go for either skim milk powder or you can go for whole milk powder. Now, these two categories of powder are available in the market. If you go for milk powder, basically you will get powder which is derived from cow milk. Now that is got a protein percentage of 34%, and if you go for powder from buffalo milk, it has got a protein percentage of 36%. And in that also you can go for whole milk powder, which will give you a fat of 6%, 6.5%. Now the strategy that you can deploy is you can go to that country where you plan to sell the milk. You can get the milk powder there, get the water tested for its potability, like I said, for the bacterial count, and you reconstitute the milk. You can add water to that powder and put it in a homogenizer. You can follow the process of pasteurization, homogenization, and then create standardized milk and sell them. This is possible if the local government allows such kind of thing. So you'll have to check the regulations whether that is allowed there, because in India, if you want to sell reconstituted milk, it is done, and most of the large brands are doing that. So that you can check and you can sell. If you have a good market, definitely you can try that out.
Okay, so Mr. Mohan wants to know again, how about curd manufacturing with milk powder?
Yes, you can manufacture curd using milk powder also. There's no problem.
Okay. And what are the best practices for pasteurization and homogenization in a milk processing unit?
Best practices are like I've already mentioned. One is testing the milk. If you have a large setup, like if you're a large dairy plant, then there are around 12 to 15 kinds of different tests, which are capable chemist, a lab analyst will suggest to you, which can be done to firstly understand the quality of the milk that you're getting. See, when you have a high bacterial load in the milk when it is coming to your plant, that means that the quality is maybe a notch lesser right from the beginning. So no matter how much efforts you put, so the quality is going to be poor. So while sourcing the milk, testing for adulteration, then the bacterial load, that's important. The second practice is filtration and clarification. So this is also again a practice which larger brands do for very good quality milk, where the smallest of the impurities or the waste material which are there, such as leukocytes, such as the in milk you may have some kind of somatic cells which are there. So those are clarified using a centrifuge. It's a very high speed machine which churns the milk and then takes out all the impurities out of the milk. So that is another practice which you can do. Then uh, there is another practice of deodorizing milk. For example, milk. What happens is during after the rainy season, specifically when they have different kinds of green fodder, there is a particular odor, smell to the milk which comes. So there, what happens is you can use the deodorizer, which again is a costly affair. So you can remove the odor through a scientific process and reduce the smell of the milk. So this is another practice, and homogenization, of course, use the suitable uh, capacity homogenizer and mix the milk properly and then maintain the temperature. Follow the temperature for pasteurization. I think these are some of the best practices, and store it properly as per temperature. Maintain the cold chain. These are very good practices, and they will ensure that you have a product with decent shelf life.
Okay. And how can you diversify the product range to cater to different market demands?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, the dairy business, as per my understanding of having set up so many plants now, and now that we are seeing most of the plants that we are running are running profitably. The success key to success is diversifying the products. uh, you cannot just become viable selling milk. Even if you look into the financials of the not so large brands, which are quite very good brands like Gyan, in Uttar Pradesh, or Govardhan, so they're also trying to diversify their products, and they're moving from liquid milk to other products like paneer, ghee, khawa, kulfi, ice cream, and all that. That's because value-added products have a much higher margin than milk, right? So products like ice cream, they have a growth rate of almost 50% per year. For example, this summer, there was a acute shortage of uh, ice cream in the market. Similarly, ghee, there is a shortage of ghee in the market. In the month of April, May, there was no ghee available in the market, and people were panicking. The large consumers were panicking. So, one is uh, for a small brand to diversify into different milk varieties like skim milk, tone milk, double tone milk, then full cream milk. So many varieties of milk may not give you much results, because again you'll be just playing with a category which has got low margins. But if you, instead of that, if you diversify into value-added products, like I mentioned, paneer, and get into packaging them, extending their shelf life, and then catering to the same customer with different products, that will increase your margins, and that will give you a lot of good brand name in the market and good cash flow in the market. So you should always try to diversify your product offerings, and as you grow the brand, like take the case of Amul, it is more than 150 kinds of products today. So you can diversify into different kinds of products, and you can become a very vibrant brand.
Okay, just couple of more questions. Okay, and how important is compliance with industry standard and regulations for the success of the milk processing unit?
Yeah. See, in our country, like I said, 80% of the players are unorganized. Hence, compliance in our country is actually an issue. If you go and look at the kind of manufacturing setups that people have locally, in many places, if you are a conscious consumer, you will not want to, buy their products and consume. So that is a problem in India. However, compliance is the key to dairy success, I would say. Why? Because say for example, the FSSI norms of tiling, creating tiles, putting tiles in your entire plant. Why is that necessary? It's not necessary for decoration purpose, right? In case of dairy products, there are certain bacteria and fungi which live and grow even when you refrigerate the product at below 4 degrees Celsius. So even if you're putting your products and milk in the refrigerator, they will continue to live, thrive, and grow. So what happens is that if you do not have tilings on the walls, fungus especially, they leave spores, and these spores, come and they get settled on the walls because of the moisture content. And then you will not be able to see any change visually, but then those spores will go and fall into your products, and that's the start of the deterioration of quality of your products. So no matter how much you try, you will see you're doing everything right, but then you'll see the product shelf life is not improving. So we have seen many people, when we take the courses for them to train them, they come with these problems, and they say that while manufacturing curd, they are using some kind of incubators which do not, chill the curd. So what happens is that when you're uh, manufacturing the curd, you need to set it at 40 to 42.5 degrees Celsius and maintain the temperature for 5 hours. So if you are not maintaining the temperature for 5 hours, and the curd will not set, and immediately after that you need to chill. So if you don't bring it below 4 degrees Celsius, then the acidity starts increasing. So even if you make lassi or buttermilk out of it, the acidity is increased. So you will be very perplexed that why is now the lassi in the cup floating? Why is it leaving water? Why is the curd becoming liquid and it's not becoming solid? So that's about temperature maintenance. Then in terms of compliance, see, if you're not able to maintain the nutritional value of your products, then of course the food inspector can always test your products and question you. And if you're you're doing it repeatedly, then you are in a vulnerable position. Somebody can come and cancel your license also. That's the worst that can happen. So your business is at risk. So both ways, so if you're adhering to the compliance, your product quality will be good. The consumers will be safe and healthy. You will not need to recall products from the market. Even if you have, to recall the products, if you are compliant, then you will have a process to recall the products from the market, whereby your brand will not be damaged or customers' problems will be resolved swiftly. So adhering to compliance is very important. Another aspect is like there are a lot of people in the market who sell paneer at 180 or 190 rupees a kg. So in that there is a very poor category. It is not actually paneer, but they are, I don't know what they make it out of, but that's absolutely inedible. So those kind of products are there. Then there is another category called analogs. Now, as per the FSSI, the analog manufacturing analogs is allowed. Analogs are prepared from milk powder, and you can use palm oil, butter oil. I don't think palm oil can be used. You can use butter oil to make paneer. But we never recommend anybody to make these kind of products. The compliance says that you cannot sell them as paneer. You cannot brand them as paneer. So you can only brand them as analogs. So these kind of provisions are there in the regulations. Our laws are very nicely framed, and if we are very compliant, our brand will be vibrant, our consumers will be safe, and they will always want to buy more of your products.
Okay. Mr. Mohan wants to know, can you assist us outside the country?
See, so far we have not done any project outside India, to be very honest with you. But we can definitely help you out and figure out the resources which will be required, and we can try our best to help you, in a very good way. So we can try that.
Okay. So now we have the final question. What marketing strategies can be employed to promote the milk products from the processing unit?
Okay. See, you can do a lot of traditional marketing, like putting up hoardings, billboards, giving leaflets, pamphlets, but those will be expensive, right? I'll suggest some cost-effective and marketing strategies that you can do. One is, when you set up your plant, you make it look good. You follow the hygiene standards, and thereafter, what you can do is you can organize visits to your plant during weekends, where you can spend some money on transporting people from the market areas where you want to sell, and then get them there. Let them have a look at where your products are being manufactured, and let them taste the products there. So this will build their confidence, and then slowly and slowly this will also generate word of mouth, right? Second is, depending upon your selling strategy. For example, if you're starting to sell to your local distributor, and you set up an agreement with them that he is or she is going to take 500 liters of milk and the other products like paneer, whatever you manufacture on a daily basis. What you can do is that you should package the products properly. So the branding on your product cover is a very good opportunity to reach out to people. So here you can do various innovative strategies. If you give today, people are mobile savvy, and they're tech savvy. If you're selling in an urban area, what you can do is you can give a QR code, and through that QR code you can send them to play some game or get a virtual tour of your plant, some kind of thing. So those kind of things you can do, and then along with the distributor, wherever the selling points are there, try to put up the branding elements, like small leaflets, small posters, those kind of things. You can also run promotional programs. If you are selling in small malls or grocery stores, you can hire some resources and on a daily basis, and dress them up properly, and get them to do sampling of your products with people, let them taste. And you can also tie up with some local brands if you have, and offer your products complementary with their products, so that their sales improve. Those kind of promotions you can do. So number of things you can do. You can think unconventionally, and you can do. And once you have a product which tastes good, much better, and believe me, that is possible. You can create products from good quality milk, which is much better than any brand, any large brand. It is possible to do that. And once you offer that product to the customer, and the customer tastes that and accepts that taste, there can be no better marketing than this strategy. So try to create a great product. Whichever product you create, become an expert in that and create a great product. So that will do its work.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Sanjay, I don't see any more questions from our participants. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for the detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed. Have a good and safe weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
You're most welcome. Thank you.